The LSU Tigers have what it takes to make a run to the 2026 college football playoff with a tremendous portal class and a tremendous recruiting class.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
To the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast a part of your day every day, right here in the nation's #1 podcasting network, Locked On. We truly appreciate it as we grow exponentially each and every year. It is a lot of fun right here. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. This is a great time of year, college basketball, NBA, and everything going on. Right now, you can get $20 off your first ticket purchase. Once you download the Game Time app, just check it out. Easiest way to get tickets anywhere. We're going to be discussing everything LSU today, but in particular at the end of the show, I want to ask across the board, not just LSU, but if your quarterback is banged up, what could be your realistic expectation? For LSU, Sam Levitt is coming off a Lisfranc injury. He played 7 games for the Arizona State Sun Devils this past season, but we'll see when he's able to get back into the full mode of being a quarterback. He's expected to miss spring in some capacity. I don't know if he'll do anything other than just kind of stand there and throw. Lisfranc injury historically is one that is very, very touchy about re-injuring it. It is a slow, grueling process of doing very little. From what I know, I want to know from you folks, do you think this is going to hinder the Tigers or not? We'll get into that later in the show. Watch out for these freshmen. LSU has a very talented incoming class. Deuce Geralds, Richard Anderson, Lamar Brown, just 3 of the big-time players, all at D-tackle, a spot that everybody needs players. And I think all of them will play. I'm personally not sure which one will make the biggest impact. I'm intrigued the most by Richard Anderson because he's roughly 350 pounds and can still move. But they have several other players. We'll talk about it in general. But to start the show, and if you take nothing else from this, LSU has not 20, not 30, but 40 portal players that are transferred, and they hit a home run at almost every position. This is the best portal class that I've seen since the portal started. And for Kiffin to do it, it shows that he understands not only who to go after, but they also have the money to back it. I just want to make a real quick distinction. There's a lot of gray area with NIL and the NIL clearinghouse. I don't think it's all that subjective to figure out that it's not being used across the board because they're afraid to get sued. But they also have this Nike initiative at LSU, like 10 players get special attention from Nike and this and that. They might move some of that money into there. I don't even know how many of the football players are involved with it because it's across all sports. But LSU's been smart with how they've maneuvered their money. And I think that's also very important to mention. While Kiffin goes out for the players, you got to have the money to pay them. And LSU and Nike have probably contributed quite a bit with that. So I want to kind of talk about some of the top players, and I'm just going to use 24/7 in terms of the top guys, go through like the top 10 players, tell you where they're from based on them, give my own comments. And then I want some comments from you in the chat. And if you're listening to this later or watching on YouTube, whatever, comment. Do you think this is the best portal class you see? Do you think this has the ability to propel the Tigers into the playoff? We'll get into several questions. I've got them here on my sheet, but let's talk about the list itself. All right. I'm just going to go do a countdown here. This is their 10 players, and we can go in a lot of different directions. But number 10, wide receiver Jayce Brown. He transfers in from Kansas State. This is a guy that's an elite player. If he's number 10, that's insane because for many schools, Jayce Brown would be number 1. And I mean that. He was the best player out wide for K-State the last couple of years. He is a burner. He is a guy that will make one guy miss, and good luck catching him. If that is number 10, and he's got a ton of production over the last couple of years, if that is number 10, that's also insane. Number 9, they have Devin Harper. I think this is a little bit of a projection. It's hard to find linemen. If I could take one or the other, I'd take Jayce Brown because I know the production. Harper hasn't played as much, but they got him as an interior lineman with a transfer grade of 93. That's really high. Very talented player. He's a kid that I believe is from Louisiana, and Kiffin had recruited him to Ole Miss, but now he transfers to LSU. You never have enough linemen, and LSU certainly wants to get more, so really big pickup. Jordan Ross, transfer from Tennessee. This is a pass rusher out of the Birmingham area. There's a big-name recruit. Ended up playing for the Vols. Now he's at LSU. Edge rushers, much like interior linemen, never go out of style. Really nice pickup for the Tigers. Eugene Wilson III, this is a kid that I know pretty well. He's from Tampa. I used to live in Tampa when he did. Played at Gaither High School, one of the best programs in the Tampa area and the state of Florida, really, for producing talent. Speedy guy, played at the University of Florida. I'm curious to see if he gets the ball a little more down the field. They threw a lot of short passes to him when he was playing for Napier at UF. Now he goes to play for the Tigers, and Kiffin is known for finding ways to get the ball to the middle and deeper thirds of the field. That'll be intriguing because Wilson can fly really fast. Ty Benefield, this is a kid that I don't know near as much about. He played, I believe he's a Boise State guy, safety, and he's got a 94 grade for Boise State. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but DBs are important in today's world. If they've got him 94, that's going to be really important. I want to talk a little bit about DJ Pickett here in a little bit, and they lost a couple of good safeties, so that's important. Carius Kern comes over to Ole Miss from LSU. That's a loss, but they still got enough offensive guys. I don't think it's that big a deal. Usan Longstreet, this is another projection. This is a player that I expect to end up being the long-term quarterback at LSU if Levitt only plays 1 year and goes to the NFL. Princewell Umanellan, Ole Miss to LSU, another pass rusher. LSU could have the best edge rush combination in the entire league with their two transfers. That's big time. Number 2, they've got Jordan Seaton. For the record, if I did my own ranking, I'd have Jordan Seaton number 1 overall in the portal, just for the record. They've got him number 2. He's the offensive tackle at Colorado. Great player. Really good dude, too. I got to know him when he was at IMG. I think he's going to be a big-time addition to LSU, and he's a 1-year rental, and he'll be off to the NFL. Really good chance that Mr. Seaton will be the first offensive tackle off the board in 2027 for the NFL draft. And then they've got Levitt number 1. I wouldn't have him as high because I'm concerned about the Lisfranc, but again, we'll get to that a little later. I understand why, though, because from the upside standpoint, I don't know how you rank it because we just don't know how long it's going to be before he gets there. But he led Arizona State to the 2024 playoff. He's a guy that was okay handing the football off. Obviously, that was a power team. But when he had to throw it, especially to Jordan Tyson, he was really good. And he's a mobile quarterback. He's a whole heck of a lot like several of the quarterbacks that Lane Kiffin has had prior to this year. I think he can be as good as he wants to be. It's just, again, the massive question mark will be around Sam's name, not to his fault, but until the end of this next season. Will he go all the way through summer, all the way through fall camp, and all the way through the regular season, all the way through the playoff without any injury concerns where he misses reps in practice, misses reps in throwing this summer, misses any time? It cannot be stated enough. Quarterbacks never get enough reps as it is because quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, etc. It's just an accumulation of getting comfortable with guys, knowing what it's like. And LSU has, the last I checked, 9 transfer wide receivers. If he stays healthy, he could be the number 1 portal player. And that's where 24/7 has him ranked. I really don't have a problem with it. But again, I wouldn't have him that high just because of the simple fact that you're talking about a guy that is absolutely, unequivocally coming off Lisfranc injury. That foot injury is annoying. He probably got the surgery, got the screws in his foot. They put a couple screws in there. But there's always the chance that it will be re-injured. And it's still also a mental factor. I don't know how that'll go, but he's a really good player, and I hope the best for him because LSU being back in the mix and being a playoff contender is a really, really big deal. It is a really big deal. To that end, let me see what we got here in the chat just to get started. Jimmy is not a fan. Jimmy James, 7891. LSU has no class. Apparently, I'm guessing he's an LSU hater and or a Ole Miss fan. But Katie, Kiffin knows what he has hired to do, and he'll not waste time doing it. No argument there. Katie, again, Kiffin is actually the only head coach I've seen draw up a play on the sidelines and score with it. And it actually involved a big man. Wouldn't surprise me. I've seen a few other guys do that way back. I know Lou Holtz did it a few times, etc., that kind of thing. But yeah, that's not normal. That is definitely not normal. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Kiffin came up with something that kind of surprised us all in some way, shape, or form, and or let's just say they figured it out and maybe they did it a day or so before the game. They came up with something like Kiffin doing that too. Would not surprise me. Lane Kiffin is that guy. So hopefully he doesn't have to do that too much at LSU. With all the talent they have, I would imagine that they're going to be able to make most of their hay during the week, during practice, and have everything ready to roll. But anyway, when we come back, I want to go over LSU's recruiting class. I want to talk about a few of the guys that I expect to not only be important, but guys that are going to possibly even compete for starting jobs at some point. There's a couple of things I want to say. That is next, right here on the Portal Podcast.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukelage and a huge advantage in the paint, staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast a part of your day. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to take your game to the next level, down below is a description with a link for the Everydayer Club. If you pay $5 per month or $50 for the year, your audio will have no ads. That's the best feature, in my opinion, by a mile. I listen to podcasts on the go when I'm driving, when I'm at the gym, when I'm out for a walk, bike ride, anything else. And I know a lot of you do the same. No ads, $5 or $50 for the year. And there's a Discord. Check it out in the link below, the Everydayer Club. Let's talk a little bit about Richard Anderson, Lamar Brown, and just quite honestly, a loaded 2026 LSU recruiting class. Is it going to be one that is going to enable the Tigers to have just a little bit more ammunition? Absolutely. The question is a little bit, though, are a few of these guys going to start? Let me put it to you this way. In terms of upside, and I don't know how long it'll take because projecting 17, 18-year-olds to the college level is always hard, but Richard Anderson is one of the rarest players I've ever scouted. When I saw him last spring, it was March or April last year in New Orleans at the Under Armour event, he told me face-to-face that he weighed 356. And in that same time, he did one-on-ones against some really good offensive linemen, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, etc., and was very dominant. He even had one rep. He did a spin move and was physically not touched. At 356, this is an unusual athlete. If Richard comes in motivated, loses just a little bit of weight, he's dropped some, but if he could get down to 330, 325, this is a guy I think could be a sophomore first-team All-American kind of guy, and as a freshman at some point move into the starting lineup, and he's got company. Deuce Geralds is probably the best pure pass rusher from the interior in the class of 26. He's a kid that's got roots in Baton Rouge, and he's a guy that's an elite player that played up in the Atlanta area, dominant. I would not be surprised if he was their third down interior defensive line pass rusher that they count on by the end of the year. He's really good at it. Then there's Lamar Brown. Some had him the number 1 player in the country coming out of high school. Could have played O-line or D-line. We'll see where he ends up, but this is another elite player. He's 285, 290 pounds, great guy, super athletic, super strong. Stays home. He's from Baton Rouge. That's just 3 of the guys that they have that are really, really good. And I've gotten to know those guys from seeing them at camps in Under Armour, etc. Corey Barber, one of the best route runners He played for Coastline. This is a dude. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but their receiver room's good, but it would not shock me if he got into the rotation at some point this year. Route runners like Corey, they find a way to make it on the field. There's no doubt about that. Aiden Hall, this is a kid, another guy that I got to know in the 7-on-7 world, played at Edna Carr, played with Big Richard down at Edna Carr High School. He's a safety with some length and some athleticism. Wouldn't be surprised if he got some run. Bryson Martinez, another offensive lineman, 6'5", 310 pounds. He's a kid from just outside of Baton Rouge. He's from Gonzales. That's a little bit south. Jabari Mack, one of the best route runners again. He's a Destrehan kid. That's a famous program. They've had all kinds of guys go to LSU and other programs. Another great player. I saw him last year at the same Under Armour camp at Edna Carr High School in New Orleans. He was, in my opinion, the most consistent receiver, definitely the one the most polished, and he's a strong dude. He played running back part of his during his younger days. He was a guy that was just unbelievable at the Under Armour. He made guys look bad, really bad. Havon Finney, that's a guy, I don't know if they'll count on him early, but I would imagine that Havon is going to be at least in the mix. He's the one California kid, and they had him committed pretty early, that I think probably could come into the SEC and make some noise. Everybody recruited him. Very athletic, very long. He's over 6'1". Wouldn't be surprised. That's a really good football player. Jayce Anderson could get a little run too. He's a tight end. He's a kid out of Illinois. If you're going to run some 12 personnel, which they will, he might have a chance to play among others. But this is a great recruiting class, and I hope that LSU finds different ways for some of these kids. I got to know several of them, so I'm kind of rooting for them. But comments and questions, again, if you've got anything you want to say about that, fire away. I do have one more comment in here right now. Might as well get to that. Katie, Kiffin is undoubtedly the best offensive mind in college football. I don't even know who I would put up there with him. It's so hard to project because everybody has a different opinion about offensive mind. Obviously, DeBoer's staff is good with the passing game. I just don't think they run it as well. Rhett Lashley, I like a lot at SMU. And there are so many others. Ryan Day's staff, but they've got a ton of talent. Well, that helps. Obviously, Lincoln Riley at USC. There are many different ways to look at it. Denbrock at Notre Dame, they led the nation in yards per play last year. Many different people can go under that boat, but Kiffin finds different ways for players to be utilized. I think that's one of the reasons he's so much fun, and he's a bit of a risk taker. He's got that charisma. He's got that outspoken nature, especially his X handle, and that makes people want to think about it a little bit. Katie, what do we got here? Do you see portal restrictions on the horizon and a spotlight shining on tampering after Dabo, Ole Miss, Mensa? That's a tough question. Wow. Define portal restrictions, because as I always say, the NCAA is looking not to get sued. That's their number one goal, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Like, define portal restriction. Like the total number you can take? I don't know. I guess you could, but they've lifted the number you can do for high school. So why would you, maybe to try to help the high school kids, maybe they restrict a little bit. That could be. So that's an interesting topic within itself. Should it be 30? That way high school kids don't get screwed. I actually, you know what? I might do a podcast about that because I think it's ridiculous how much teams kind of rely on it. But again, anytime you make a decision that changes roster in any way, there's always the chance for quote unquote billable hours, meaning lawyers getting involved. And that is very touchy. The NCAA and no other entity, honestly, wants anything to do with that. Katie also says, I would go so far as to advocate legislation to prohibit tampering with players under contract with jail time attached. Good luck in the following category. This, I understand what you're saying, but note the following 2 points here. Whether it's LSU and Ole Miss and Clemson, Miami and Duke, or anything else, there's two problems. You're talking about legislation. Well, that gets into politicians. Give you an example. If you're up for election in the next cycle or whatever, and you're a senator or you're in the House or state, anything else, If Big State U is under investigation, whether it's dead set, it's obvious they're cheating. If you pass a law that hurts Big State U, you're not getting reelected. That's a problem. That's why the state thing is a problem. And even from a federal, how do you do that? And then on top of it, you've got to get every state to agree. You can't get 5 people in a room to agree. How are you going to get states to agree? That's the problem. You look at these rulings, these injunctions about eligibility, for instance, the locals always approve it pretty much. They don't want to get kicked out of office. It's 100% about bias. So I'm not sure that's going to work, but I understand your thought. But I will be shocked if any of that comes to fruition. So I just don't trust that politicians, I mean, who wants to get kicked out? I get it. I'm not pro-politician by any means, believe me, I am not. But still, I understand the concern there. When we come back, I want to talk about LSU's chances to make a run. I have 2 major consequences about LSU that I want to discuss. That is next here on the Portal Podcast. Today's show was brought to you by Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who watch what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates that have already been vetted by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria. It could be the skill you're looking for that's really important. Maybe it's a certification. Maybe it is the location that person lives in, so you know that they're going to be ready and be available right away. Whatever it is, you can set that up with Indeed. And if you're hiring, you want to make sure that you have the right people as fast as possible. With this process, getting the quality candidates really, really fast, it's going to make sure that you get those people in front of your hiring managers much, much quicker. And there's a chance to stay all in with a 1-minute look at this. Take it from this perspective. When 1 minute I've been talking to you, Indeed has made 27 hires on average, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing. Check it out with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. We are also brought to you by your friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like being at an NBA arena, the crowd, energy, and moment. Getting tickets, though, that part isn't always been so simple for NBA basketball. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I've actually bought 2 different sets of tickets with Game Time, had no problems, and in both instances, literally in and out in 5 minutes, including putting in my ticket information or my credit card information. It's not that hard. All you got to do is click on the game you're looking for. You find the seat, you click on it, and you can see from your seat what the arena looks like. Pretty straightforward. So it doesn't matter what state, what level of the game, could be college, could be pro, anything else. Just make sure you take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first Game Time purchase. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. 2 questions about LSU, and the first one should not surprise you. Does Sam Levitt stay healthy 100% all the way through the season? And let me define what 100% means, as I brought this up earlier in the show. This means practice reps, because we're not going to hear the full story. We're not. Any quarterback injuries that happen, those minor ones, 0% chance you're going to get those on the injury report. Every single team, college and pro level, lies about their quarterback injuries, period. And sometimes quarterback doesn't even tell people. It's human nature. A lot of players lie to their trainers about how because they want to play. But do you think they're going to, especially with the big game coming up against, I don't know, Alabama, Ole Miss, or anybody else, you think Kiffin's going to give out all the information if Sam Levitt missed some reps? No. But that's still the most important thing. And you'll find out really whether or not they're honest or not. And again, nobody will be, if he has gotten those reps, by how much comfort there is. LSU has a ton of new talent, including Corey Barber coming in. Who knows which guys are going to be the most important, who are going to pick up the offense. You just have to go through spring. You have to go through it. Oh, by the way, he's not going to be available. Okay. Well, summer, then he's got to do all those workouts and he's got to make up time. Okay. Well, hell, even Kiffin's not allowed to be at those. We really don't know. But on the back end, those games are on TV. And you'll be able to tell if there's been some problems. And part of it, you could point it this spring. But the summer workouts are honestly more important because it's just a bazillion reps. You just go through it with your guys. You run basically the offense, but it's 7-on-7, for lack of a better term. And you're running routes. You might be doing some drills. You might be discussing some things, how you want guys to come in and out of breaks, but it's the repetitions. If he is not available for 99% of it at least, it's probably not going to work out for LSU during the season. That's just how it works with every team. It's not an LSU thing. You must get the reps. Number 2, this is a very talented team on defense. They've got some guys coming back, and in particular, DJ Pickett. But they lost safeties. They got a really good safety coming in from Boise State I talked about in the transfer portal. But here's my question. I'm pretty sure, assuming Levitt is healthy, they're going to score some points. They're going to score. They got several young players on the offensive line, although they weren't great last year. They'll be back. Weston Davis and all these guys, they'll be back. How good is that secondary? Because they're going to get attacked. They have to be, because teams are going to have to try to score with LSU. DJ Pickett's going to be on one side. That's a guy I've known since he was coming out of 8th grade. I knew he was a special player. Everybody knew he was a special player. He's a 3-and-out guy to the NFL. Everybody knows it. To that end, who are they going to put around him, and how are they going to protect the following scenario from not playing out? If I'm a quarterback, I come up, I see DJ, I'm going the other direction. Whoever the nickel is, whoever is the outside corner, rotation players, anything else, they got to make sure that they set that up. And I know that sounds simple, but it's really not. Because if teams find that one opportunity, they'll just go to it over and over again. Same thing the NFL does, everything else. That way you eliminate DJ. He might be their best defensive player this year. Now he's got a year under his belt, and he was starting this past year anyway. If they can go away from DJ, maybe they can bypass him with that other talent. There's no helping corner. Like, you can only double one guy mathematically, and really make it work at this level with all the spread formations, the bunch formations. We're going to stay away from Pickett. We're going to attack everybody else. Are they going to be good enough? I have no idea, because again, they got 40 transfer portal players. I'm not going to dive in to their depth chart. I'll get Matt Moscona on at some point as we get closer to spring or right in the middle of spring practice to talk about that. But if they can do those two things, if Levitt can stay healthy, get all those reps, and again, we're never going to know the full story, they should be good offensively. And then on the backside of that, I think the second biggest question, undoubtedly, how do you make sure that teams can't just throw away from Pickett? If they got to come after you because you're scoring, does the rest of your secondary hold up? They should have a very good pass rush, which that mitigates a lot. But if nothing else, you can just throw, you catch the ball and the snap, take one bunny hop, throw it up. If you've got guys that are struggling, whether it's slant route, whether it's fade ball, whether it's go ball, you're not getting home on 1 second. You've got to be able to cover at some point against elite teams. That's something that we've got to see. And if LSU does that, I think they could absolutely be a deep play. They could compete for it all. There's a lot of things they got to kind of thread the needle through. But I think LSU is in a position to do that. And I think it will be fun to see how it goes. And they might be the most polarizing team to follow this next season, not just because of Kiffin, because of Sam more than anything else. And then that defense, it's going to be under fire, but they've got the personnel, and they kind of have the system down now. We'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Katie, it's ironic that everything Nevin Shapiro did and went to jail for is now legal and ignored. Touche. This Lisfranc is iffy and can be a career ender, but LSU has so much talent, and Kiffin will develop a backup. Look how when Austin Simmons went down, here came Trinidad. That is true. Kiffin will have a plug-in quarterback. Here's the thing. It's expected to be Usain Longstreet. He's a redshirt freshman, the kid that transferred in from SC. I mentioned him in the transfer portal top 10. And again, they got 40 guys. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I don't trust him to run this offense yet. There's a lot to it. I've seen Usain play live. He is built like a boxer. He is just yoked. His arm strength is insane. He's the guy from a baseball standpoint that you put as the closer because he throws 98 mile an hour coming out of the pen, no problem. He's got to learn touch. He didn't have any when I saw, none. And he's got to learn the ability with all the changing defenses after the snap. It's the post-mortem report, basically, for every quarterback that failed. He didn't see it coming. They changed coverages, and the guy picked it off, took it out. That's why you don't trust young quarterbacks. They need Sam Levitt to be healthy. Maybe USON would be good against most teams, but teams that play a lot of zone and change things up, yeah, that can get really, really dicey. I'm not sure that he would be ready for that. To that end, that's going to conclude my LSU overview. I think they're absolutely a contender, but before I rank them in my top 10, my initial spring top 10, I won't have LSU, I don't think, because I want to see and hear what's going on at LSU with Sam Levitt. Now, my summer top 10 might be totally different. I need to see Sam actually play this fall to really believe it. We got to have a preseason poll. If I hear all the right things in like July, maybe I would move them up. But we're a long, long way from July right now. It's the 5th of February as I do this post. I don't think there's any way I'm going to put him in the top 10 because I need to hear more about it. There have been too many circumstances with the Lisfranc injury where honestly it just didn't go well. 3 months in, something goes wrong. 4 months in, 5 months in. If that happens to LSU, it's unfortunate, but they're not a top 10 team without him completely healthy this summer to get those reps with the receivers. It's just a deal breaker for me. So we'll see if it happens, but Sam Levitt is the key. Not that that's a surprise to anybody for LSU's 2026 season. And if he's ready to roll, would I be shocked if they were in the national title game this year? No, I wouldn't. Their schedule, by the way, they've got Ole Miss on the road. That'll be the biggest show in the world because of the Kiffin stuff. They got to play Bama. I believe that game will be, I think it's at home this year. Those are the two that I've got circled. They don't have a schedule that's like unbelievably difficult, but at the same time, we'll see. It's still the SEC. It's not easy. And I really don't want to die. It's too late and sort of like just go through and dissect it. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I need to get through some more teams before I start really bouncing around the schedules. Remember, they're going to play A&M. That's one of their natural rivals. Arkansas, of course, is completely rebuilding. That's one of their others. They'll have a difficult schedule, but if LSU won undefeated, I still wouldn't be shocked because the roster is pretty stacked. Thank you very much for making the Portal Podcast a part of your day, each and every day, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the nation's #1 podcasting network. If you have not already, like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your pods. And again, the Everydayer Club, if you do not want to mess around with ads, any audio you get, $5 a month or $50 for the year, check out the Everydayer Club down in the description below. It's pretty straightforward. That's a great deal. So check it out. We will see you again soon right here on the Portal Podcast.